boy oh boy, don't some people have all the luck. And of course, talking about Justin Trudeau. Keeping all that in.
I remember when I lost my mind.
Oh, right, we're in the trucker convoy. Everyone hears about that. Hashtag Truckers for Freedom 2022. Everyone's heard about that. If you haven't, check out my other video, or I don't know, just pay attention to anything. But Justin Trudeau, of course, the day before they were supposed to arrive, said that he was in close contact with somebody who had the bad thing. And because of that, he was going to self-isolate for 5 days as per the health measures, even though that's not even a thing anymore because he said that he had no symptoms, he tested negative, and he's like 17 times vaxxed. So everyone sort of figured out right from the get-go that he was a little pussy and he was hiding. And then the convoy went on fairly smoothly. No signs of violence or anything like that for the first 2 days, and that is when things started to get fishy. And of course, they had to find something to throw at these truckers, so they did this. Talking about the Terry Fox monument, like, oh, this has gone too far, like they're making... Which, you know, it's not like they desecrated it or anything like that. It's a Canadian flag, it's a mandate freedom. Two things that I'm sure Terry agreed with. But these same people didn't have a problem when people were doing, oh, I don't know, this to the Terry Fox monument. So the message is clear, everybody. The liberal message is clear. You can make Terry Fox suck cock, but don't you ever insinuate that man liked freedom. And that's not, of course, where it ends, because of, unfortunately, people sort of figured that out and it quickly collapsed on top of itself because it's like the media, which here in Canada was bought out by Justin Trudeau's government for the tune of, like, I think it was like $50-60 million or whatever that was covered in a previous video. Check that one out. You should check out all the videos on here, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your comments. But back to the issue at hand. There was then, of course, okay, how can we make this a racist thing? And then they were like, oh, the Confederate flag. Never even once a symbol in Canada for literally anything. It's an American historical flag. And then there was all these pictures of a guy walking around with the Confederate flag, and they were very, very high quality photos, I must add. Almost as if it was set up, and then you figured it out. How convenient for old Justin Trudeau that it was his personal photographer himself who was not only talking to the guy with the Confederate flag, which, by the way, still had wrinkles in it from the fold, so it was a brand new one. It's not like this guy had this flag parading around in his house all of his life. Took a couple pictures and then just left. Almost as if he was only there for a personal photo shoot with Justin Trudeau's personal photographer. But like a basic fucking card trick, all the liberals will of course fall for it because magic is real. Yes, not to be outdone once he realized that the truckers were not leaving, and in fact they announced that they had enough money and supplies that was going to last them 2 to 4 years. So they were willing to wait at least 1,000 days for Justin Trudeau to do this, which sounds rather inconvenient for the people of Ottawa and all the politicians trying to get stuff done. So Justin Trudeau then did the typical announcement, the totally truthful, not lying, that he tested positive, adding another 10 days to his isolation, hoping to just kick this can down the road. But then he did something that completely gave himself away, which I can't believe no one's talking about, and that is testing positive, that evil, he's positive for that evil thing going around. He appeared maskless in front of a microphone that didn't work. So he had a lapel microphone on. You can kind of see it to near his scarf, which means somebody had to expose themselves to a positive test of Justin Trudeau just so he can get in front of a microphone and continue to lie. And it's just, I wonder how, if we're going with the science, it's the science of Canadians. Why is Justin Trudeau not in a small room the size of perhaps, a regular hotel room like he has people doing once they arrive from the airport, and staying there for the 10 days to not risk exposing people to this deadly illness, the thing that's killing everyone? It's killed more people than anything ever in the world. Oh my God, why would he do that? It's because he's full of shit. Come on. Come on, guys. Is it this hard? Is it this hard? Are you making it hard? That's what she said. But my favorite part of what Justin Trudeau always says is that this movement does not represent a majority of Americans. Americans. It doesn't represent a majority of Americans, probably, and Canadians as well. How would he know? And to that I say that is completely irrelevant. Whether it's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, stay with me, 95, 99% of Canadians, I don't care if it's 99% of Canadians that believe that vaccination should be forced on people. Now, why is that? Well, because the mob should not rule. Just because a majority wants something doesn't mean it should be done, because it doesn't necessarily mean that it's right or moral. Now, here's an example. A majority of Americans, see, I was just a little ahead of the game there, talking about Americans. A majority of Americans in the 1700s, early 1800s, they wanted something called slavery. Now, not a single person today would ever risk saying that, well, if the majority wanted slavery to come back, then we would just have to do it because it would represent a majority of this nation's people. No, what you would do is you would try to figure out what made a majority of the country feel so terribly about another group of people, and you would work to fix that, and you would not institute slavery. You would do the opposite. You would do anti-slavery education. Correct? Perhaps? Maybe? Are we all in agreement? Cool. So, I don't give a shit if a majority of Canadians want the mandates, because they're immoral, anti-science in nature. Because the whole design is that it keeps unvaccinated people away from crowds because they can spread it. But it doesn't account for the fact that we know for a fact that vaccinated people, even Joe Biden got this one wrong on purpose, still not taken down by any of the social media people for that misinformation, but whatever, that they can still get it, be hospitalized, and die. Now the argument is that, it's just less likely, and so far the numbers do correlate to that. It's a 0.01% hospitalization for the jabbed and a 0.89% hospitalization for the unjabbed. Some might say those numbers very low, but it's 89 times more. That's called lying with stats. So a majority of Canadians want it. I don't give a shit, because it doesn't justify doing something wrong. What we should be doing is, if it is true, which somehow I doubt, because Justin Trudeau is a notorious pathological liar and a complete drama queen, my focus then would be, what is it that made Canadians so incredibly morally bankrupt to want to force this on their fellow people? And the answer to that is simple. They feel stupid. And they don't want to be the only stupid person in the room. So they want to make sure that everyone does what they did. So then that way it's not I'm stupid. It's, man, we really screwed that up. It becomes us being me and starts being we. And it makes it a lot easier then to look like a complete fucking moron when all the facts come out about all of this stuff. And now this is all stuff from the CDC. YouTube, do not. It was the CDC that said that cloth masks are kind of shitty and don't really work. That you should use the N95s, which are like the super duper ones that they use in like labs and shit like that. Which, I mean, that could legitimately protect you, I'm sure, against a lot of things. But I don't understand. Whatever. It was the CDC that releases the numbers that say that there are still vaccinated people testing positive because Omicron is pretty good at breaking through, allegedly, the current vaccination. This is all stuff that's true. It doesn't mean the vaccine doesn't work, YouTube. Okay, it doesn't mean it doesn't work. It doesn't mean this is all a big scam at all. Definitely not. But all in all, I think that we should really focus on what the drivers are doing. That's very good, because then there's a lot of people that are saying that they're racist. Of course they are. We're going back to the fake Photoshoot. And they're talking about the Indigenous community's water. And why are we not focusing on the water instead? It's like all of a sudden it's like, oh, now even you guys care about the water. You guys didn't post shit about that water. All of a sudden we need the same energy. It's like you didn't have any fucking energy towards it either. What are you talking about? But you know who did have actual energy to it before people actually started posting about this? Because, oh boy, there's another situation where it's like, man, we were really stupid on this one. The drivers actually started a GoFundMe to raise money to provide clean water into the Indigenous communities of Canada. They did that all by themselves. Because unlike the government that you, for some reason, are thinking is all innocent in all this, that when you talk about the water, it's not their fault. Justin Trudeau's been in office since, 2015, and they still haven't done that? Where the fuck were you the last 7 years marching into Ottawa? How about you try doing that shit, you lazy fucks? Because at the end of the day, these racist, white supremacist drivers, truck drivers, and people that support them in the Freedom Convoy have done more in this past weekend for the Indigenous people of Canada and their health, their safety, and their water supply than you have in your entire fucking life. Spoiler alert, your black squares, your orange squares, your hashtag every child matters did absolutely fucking nothing. Absolutely nothing. You're not an activist. You're a fuckhead. You're a phony. And you make me sick. Because you would try to slip in a little way to try and discredit what's happening with the convoy without actually having the courage to say you disagree with it. You want to know why? Because you don't actually have a reason for it other than you're a brainwashed fucking idiot. That's all there is. That's all there is to it. That's it. So stop reaching for all these reasons as to why you keep sucking the cock of the establishment media and the corporate media and your CNNs and your CBCs and your Whoopi Goldbergs and your Don Lemons, even though he's somebody that would certainly like it if you did or if you let him do it to you. Ugh. 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 But like I said, they're halfway through this video. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and leave your comments and leave your support and go to the GoFundMe. If you don't want to go to the GoFundMe because GoFundMe actually froze the money that was going towards the Freedom Convoy, because even GoFundMe are little fucktwats, try to figure out a way to actually donate some of this money to the Indigenous water cleanup program thingy that has to be done independently because the government is just intent on starving and dehydrating them to death. Just like the truckers did. So join the truckers, help the Indigenous people, at the very least, you dumb fuck. Trudeau, you little pussy ass bitch. This outro is starring you today. You're the only one who gets to appear. And I would tell you to go fuck yourself with a cactus, but you'd probably enjoy it because I know you like sticking long, cylinder-esque things with a head on the top of it up your fucking asshole. So don't do anything you'd enjoy. So because I don't want you to enjoy anything, go get some pussy. Subscribe to the channel later.
That make me